everybody, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and it's April, and I know we're halfway through April already and I don't quite believe how we've got there, but we have. So I just thought it was time for another quick update. I say quick, but you know, just give me a little bit of leeway on that one. So an update on plans and where we're heading really going into the summer. Also, I thought to do a quick recap on France as well, our time in France too, so that's might be of interest to somebody. So it's a bit of a chatty, waffly kind of chat with a bit of the sewing and plans thrown in. So I hope that's okay with everybody. It just sort of feels like a good idea just to update you with what's going on with life, really, where I am in the world, which is in southern Spain. So we live on the Costa del Sol. We live near Marbella and Malaga. Well, no, we're Malaga Airport you'd fly into, but then we're across the coast. Our local town is San Pedro, which is the bigger town, and then the village that we're associated with for postal purposes is Benahavís, and it's a lovely village. I popped one or two pictures up of us driving into there and of the Easter procession. So if you wanted to have a little look at that, then have a look. Now that is relevant as well as I start to talk about France as well, so it'll all come together, so just bear with me. So we went over to France for a month just to have a little look see. We've been a couple of times before. Rob has some friends, my husband Rob, who lives at my husband Rob has some friends who live up in the north of France near a place called Haydam, which is lovely. So Eric lives up there, and we've been up there a couple of times and really liked it. I've also been on holiday in a former life and marriage on holiday in the Vendée, and whilst I didn't particularly enjoy the holiday, I did really enjoy the area that we were in. So it was nice to get back, and we went last year for a gourmet weekend with some people who, with Emma and John, who had featured on A Place in the Sun or A New Life in the Sun, one of the two, New Life in the Sun I think it was, where they look at the businesses, and they'd opened up a gîte, farmhouse gîte, and then Emma is a chef and John is a sommelier, so they then put on different weekends for people to go, aimed at expats and locals as well, but they take you to a market and chocolaterie. Anyway, we went there last year with some friends, and Rob and I really enjoyed it, and again we loved that area. That was in a place called Duras, which is just south of Bordeaux and not far from Bergerac, so that's places that you might have heard of. So we decided this year we'd like to go back again, and I don't know if you're like us, we tend to get sucked in with the programmes like Chateau DIY and Escape to the Chateau and all those kind of things, and let me just be really clear, we don't want a chateau, okay? We are not in the price point for buying a chateau at all or anything like that, but what really appealed to us was the greenness, the green countryside, and that being in the middle of nature as well. And I know that you can find that in any country, but where we live in Spain is a little more built up and a little bit more touristy, I suppose, and we can escape it, and we do the tourist side of things, and we've found some absolutely fabulous tapas bars and restaurants, and we mix with the community, the Spanish community, whenever we can, and we are learning Spanish as well, so I can speak a bit of Spanish, which is great, and I love doing that. So one of my all-time ambitions was to learn a language and to speak it fluently. Now I'm nowhere near fluent yet, but I can get by, which is good, so we'll go with that for the time being. And I always thought that I'd learn to speak French, because although I didn't do very well with French at school, I really enjoyed it. I know it seems like a bit of a contradiction, but I just did. I was very shy at school and very kind of lacking in confidence, I suppose, really, within a school environment and academically. So therefore I sort of always liked it, but I didn't really pursue it at all afterwards. And then obviously having children and being married and all those kind of things get in the way, and you know you have to shelve those ideas. So there was a bit of an inkling and a bit of an itch to scratch, if you like, with France, and so that's really what led both Rob and I to have a go at living there just for a short while. Now Rob had a connection with this part of Spain that we're in already. We didn't have to just choose randomly from the whole of Spain when we moved here. He's actually got some friends, John and Sally, with their children Poppy and Honey, and the lovely Ziggy, who is a big long-haired Alsatian, and I'm quite frightened of dogs, but Ziggy is just adorable. even though he's really fierce when he barks. But anyway, he doesn't do that very often, but I always jump a mile out my skin whenever he does. But so being as Rob already had John and Sally as friends before we got together, and then later got married, then with the connection here in Spain already, then it was a bit of a no-brainer, because Rob used to come over to Spain to visit John and Sally and had some lovely times with them. And so it's no wonder at all that we find ourselves here. And I think that with the little French questions just sort of giving us a bit of an itch, then we just thought, let's have a look and see what it's all about and see whether we'd like it. So we chose deliberately a cooler month, so we went over in March. For those who are just watching this video for the first time, just have a quick look back. I think my last update in March was filmed in France, and we just wanted to try somewhere. So we deliberately went when it would be cooler, less touristy, quiet, closed down, to see whether or not we thought we might like it there at some stage in the future. And I think in some ways it's an expensive thing to do, you know. I'm not knocking that, but we got a good deal on the place that we stayed at. We stayed at a place called Le Bath, which is near Duras, which is the place we went to for the Gourmet Weekend. And our lovely hosts there, Richard and Jeanette, looked after us really well. And we had the little 2-bedroom sheet that you saw me filming some of my videos in March across there. And we loved the rolling countryside. We loved the greenness. Both Rob and I have grown up in villages for most of our lives, so it was felt like a real return to that. There was a lot of space, and the apartment overlooked a bit of a valley, and it got almond trees and hazelnut trees and then vines as well. So that was really lovely to see all of those starting to come to life, and the blossom was just beautiful. And then the ground was covered in little forget-me-nots as well on all the little banks, and you went for a walk along the grass verges. There were all forget-me-nots in the grass verges. That was all lovely. So it's kind of put a few things in perspective for us. So whilst we like it, we don't think we're ready for it yet, because it's much quieter there than we are at the moment here. And socially, there's fewer restaurants than where we are now. We're not out clubbing, believe it or not, every night, and we are quite homebodies anyway, so that actually works in our favour. But I think we just felt that it whilst it was lovely, and it is lovely, and probably worthy of a few holidays there should we wish to, because one of the questions we've always had is, if you live in a holiday destination, where do you actually go on holiday? Because when we go back to the UK, it doesn't really feel like a holiday, because we kind of itinerize everybody in as much as we can do, because I want to see as many people as possible, and so, you know, that sort of puts a different angle on it, because you're kind of then thinking who you're seeing next, and you try and spend some time with them. And I do try to explain, if they want to spend some quality time with me, pop over here. But apart from my mum, Wendy, then, who enjoys coming over here, then so far they're just feeling like it's not for them. It's either too hot or too far, or they don't like flying or whatever. So all really good valid reasons, but it just means that at the moment they have to make do with when I go back over to the UK. So I'm digressing anyway. So whilst we loved France and it was lovely, and I think it was a really good exercise in going over there, and we did enjoy it, Spain is going to be our home for the next 3 to 4 years, I think. So, and normally when I say something like this on a video, so it's recorded for a posterity, then something goes and messes that plan up, and things go wrong. But our new plan for the moment is to still keep France in mind, but probably just use it for the occasional holidays and what have you for the time being, and we're going to stay in Spain for a while. So we're not planning any big moves, we're not buying any chateaus, we're not going to be wandering off doing the ooh-la-la thing. We are staying in Spain and appreciating where we are and engaging more. So quite often, I mean, you know, I love my sewing, and you know that I like to make lots of things, but I need to get a little bit more. So it's quite easy for me to sit in my sewing room, which is where I am at the moment, which is on the front of the house, but all the view and all the terrace and everything is all on the back side of the house, sort of where I'm facing at the moment. And so if I'm not careful, I can bring myself in here in the morning and I can start sewing, and then that's it. You know, you've lost me for the day, and before I know it, it's getting to be dusk and I've missed all of the lovely sunshine. So I've just got to get that work-life balance. Well, I say work, pleasure. It's pleasure. My hobby is my pleasure, isn't it? and enjoy that, and so that we can get the balance right. And also Rob will be retiring in December as well, so we'll have more time together. So we'll just see, we'll just balance it out. I'm still going to keep doing my YouTube because I absolutely love it, and I love the support from everybody that I engage with, and I love that you get something out of my videos too. That's always been, you know, really something I've wanted. There's nobody around me at the moment for me to pass my skills on to. My cousin Dawn sews, and we have lots of sewing chats, and I've got one or two sewing friends, but in terms of my nieces and my nephews and what have you, nobody on that front is sewing at the moment. And so I just thought, well, if I start to put down some of my tips and techniques, then you never know, in the future, if ever they're interested, then they can have a look at the videos and learn a little bit of something from that. And in the meantime, I get to engage with all of you lovely lot, and we can chat and engage and love our sewing, and make our lunar Lapin characters, and we can do our dressmaking and our cross stitch, and we can just enjoy the mindfulness and the pleasure that we get from doing that. So that's why it's all going to continue. So no big changes. Don't worry, don't panic. Nothing's changing. We're just going to carry on pretty much the same as we've been doing, which hopefully everybody so far has seemed to have enjoyed. Now, the reason I made reference to the Easter parades in the earlier bit of my conversation is that when we were in France, just towards the middle of the trip, I got a bit of a message from my sewing teacher in Spain. Now, I joined in Benahavis. They're really good. They put on some local classes, and they're free of charge. They're paid for by the taxes, but, you know, in effect, there's no extra cost for them. And there's a wonderful lady called Maritaire who has been sewing for many, many years, and who is just as passionate as I am about sewing. Obviously, she's been passionate for a bit longer than me because she's a little older than me, but only a bit. And she has a wonderful classes that she runs both daytime and evening in Benahavis for the local community, people of Spanish and English and all alike. And I put her in a bit of a flutter when I first applied to join for the classes, because I was fairly new over here, about 3 or 4 years ago. Well, 3 or 4 years ago when I first joined, so it's probably about 3.5 years ago. And I spoke very, very little Spanish, you know, possibly an hola and a por favor and a gracias, and that was probably about it. But of course, I applied to go to the sewing class. I thought it'd be a good place to meet friends. I am digressing slightly. I'll come back to why I was mentioning this before. Anyway, I tried to go along straight to the class, but you needed a certain card. You needed to register so that the teachers knew that you got the permissions, the rights to be able to sign up for the classes. And so I needed to sort that bit out first at the town hall. So I went on to the town hall after being sort of not turned away from the class. That sounds a bit harsher than it actually was, but I was told that I need to get this other document. So I went off to get that to the town hall. And while I was there, I said, I think she's almost quite full. And so the lady there, who did speak English and who's Spanish but speaks beautiful English, said that she'd ring the teacher and just say that she was putting me on the list, and she hoped she could fit me in. So I was kind of a bit nervous about this, because I thought that the sewing teacher was a little bit nervous about me coming along, and how would she possibly teach me when we didn't speak the same language. So I thought, how can I kind of break the ice and let her know that I'm not a total beginner, and that, you know, we might actually have some things in common. And so in the end, I did her a letter, and I used Google Translate. So I typed it out in English first, and then popped it into Google Translate, and then transferred it back onto a letter, which I sort of typed out for her. And when I went along to then register and let her put my name down for the class, and I took the letter with me. And basically I just said, hi, you know, I'm so sorry if I upset you the other day, because, you know, you were concerned at how you might be able to teach me when I don't speak English. If I can reassure you, I'm not a total beginner, and I do know some things about sewing. So I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I know how to do the other. And, you know, if you would let me join your class, I'd really appreciate it, because I'm hoping to engage with other people in the area who sew, and who I may be able to form friendships with. And I really appreciate it. But if it becomes too much or too stressful for you or for me, then please be assured I will step back, and I will leave the class for somebody else to attend. So I sent the letter along with me, and since then we've been best buddies, because absolutely from that moment on she was able to understand that I really did want to be involved with the class and to help, not to help, to for it to help me really, and to get along with everybody who was there. So yeah, it's just finding your way, isn't it? Sometimes we try to do things that are new and outside of our comfort zone, but we've got to learn a way to engage, and for me that was just a way to try and make that work. So that's where we go. So now we're kind of on an understanding where I don't necessarily get lessons. I mean, Mary Terry's great at pattern drafting, so she doesn't like to use commercial patterns at all. So when I turn up with my cashmerette or my Love Notions or my Style Arc or whatever pattern I've got with me, she's almost a little bit horrified, because how could I actually use a paper commercial pattern? But I'm equally horrified, thinking, how do I make the garment that I want from a blank piece of paper, if you like, without the skills that I've got. And so, you know, that's where she's been helping me to understand some pattern changes and how to work with her patterns. And we drafted a pattern for a flamenco dress for Clementine, which I've been working on, but I've not finished with that yet. So she was showing me how to make all of the flounces and how to work with those, which was fabulous to see. And she's absolutely in her comfort zone when she's doing that. So it's lovely to see her passion come through, and she knows that I love sewing too. So we're kindred spirits on that point. So I had a call or a message, because I have to have them in Spanish because she doesn't speak much English and I don't speak much Spanish. So she messaged me on WhatsApp, and then I copy that and put that into Translate, find out what she's saying, put my response into Translate, and then copy it back. It sounds long-winded, but it does work. And she was basically saying, when are you back? I need you. So of course you ping back, well, you know, what's happening? You know, what do you need me for, sort of thing? How can I help? And she let me know that the local council for the Easter parades had contacted her regarding making some tunics for the children, and they'd only given her just over 2 weeks in which to make, turned out to be 50 tunics for the Easter parades. So of course she was in a bit of a flap, because she knew out of the class a lot are beginners, but she has got a handful of people who do know how to sew and she can rely on, and she considered me to be one of those people. So I was really flattered and really pleased to be able to help. So it was just getting the timing right. So we did actually come back from France a couple of days early, but by then Rob and I had kind of scratched the itch we'd got to scratch, and we were comfortable that we were going back at the right time for us. But it meant that we gave me a couple more extra days. So we got back, I think, about tea time on the Monday, and 10 o'clock Tuesday morning I'd popped along to class and been given fabric for 4 tunics to make. So these are just round neck, set-in sleeve, long sleeve with a turn-up and a little bit of a cuff, and then a long A-line tunic with a turn-up on the bottom. And then the children wear them with a white rope belt on them, cinched in at the waist. And so she got 50 to make, so she gave me 4 to start off with, which I then said, well, I'll bring those back to class on Thursday, which I did, and then on Thursday I got given 5 more to then take home, and I made those over the weekend and got those back to her on the Monday night. So that might just apologise, you know, and explain to you while I was a bit quiet straight off. If you watch the Easter parade video, then I've recorded one where the children are wearing blue tunics. I think they're called cassocks actually. I was brought up as Catholic, but I don't practice now, but that was the name that we were given for them, but she called them tunics. So I made the 9, and I made them in scarlet and red, so they were in absolute, you know, scarlet, which is a lovely colour to work with, and I enjoyed doing those, and popped those over to her. So she had all of those back in time, so she was thrilled, and I was pleased to be able to help the community. And it was then when we went along to the ceremony, to the parade on the Sunday, then I videoed that and put the video up live for you, so you can have a look at that and see that. So if you look at the blue tunics, then I was making those, but the ones that I actually made were in red, but you know, it doesn't matter, they're all the same, aren't they, really, and enjoyed helping with that. So that kept me busy for the start of that. I also had another friend contact me. Her husband had got some shirts, and they were too long in the body for him, so he wanted those shortening as well, so I've shortened those for him. So he's he's picking that up 6 of those that I needed to get sorted for him. And then my sister-in-law, Rob's sister, has actually and her husband have now bought an apartment about half an hour down the coast, the other side of Estepona to us, and they'd got an outdoor sofa set, 2 chairs and a 3-seater sofa that they wanted the covers changing on. So we planned a trip to a fabric shop to go and choose some for that, and we've got some fabulous fabric. It's completely waterproof, although it doesn't feel plasticky at all. It's really nice. So that's going to be my job, one of my jobs for this next week, because I think I've got 2 weeks left before they're back. So I'm going to try and get at least some done for when they're back, but that's quite a big job to do. It's not so bad when you've got the first one done, because obviously they're really big chairs and then back cushions, and once you've got your sort of process sorted out, but of course I want to overlock around everything first. I've got to insert the zips, and it's got a it's like a boxed, so you've got a flat top, flat bottom, and then you've got the boxing that goes round the strip of fabric that goes around that holds the zip. So I've got those to do, so that's going to keep me busy as well. So just if I'm not just as active just these next few days, then just bear in mind that real life is just encroaching a little bit, and have a look through some of my older videos. I know the quality of them isn't that brilliant, and that's when I was learning how to, and I'm still learning how to do videos that you all enjoy, but hopefully there's some little nuggets in there that you'll find and you'll enjoy, especially on the Lunar Lapin. But also there are some dressmaking videos on there, and I do want to do more dressmaking as we get on, as that's part of what I'm going to be doing as we go forward. So we got Otterline finished this last month, so she was a lovely make, and I'm really, really pleased with her. She's got a sticky out tail which pivots, so really pleased with her. And I've also still got the donkey to do, so I'm hoping to do the donkey this next month, in April. Bear in mind, I'm hoping. And then that's going to leave Hugh for a little bit longer yet, so I need to wait on for that. So bear with me whilst I just get those sorted. I've still got the kilt and the thespian shirt to make for Hamish as well. So there's a few bits going on. Now, I have placed another order with Cool Crafting, even though I've not finished these, because I had a message from a lady called Linda who wants me to help her make some of the Meadow Suite garments, and so she's very kindly sponsored the pattern book for that, pattern booklet, which I've ordered. So Rob's popping over to the UK in June. No, he's not. Next week. He is going back in June, but first he's going back next week. And he's going to pick up the package for me. So I've ordered, I've got to make another Hamish and another kilt and thespian shirt for my friend Lindsay. She would like that for her, for herself and for her granddaughter, and because she took me to the sew away, I'm making that as a gift for her, and she knows about it, so there's nothing secret about that, but so she's looking forward to that. So I've ordered those. I also ordered the Meadow Suite pattern booklet, so that'll be coming. I'll be looking through that, and I know that the school dress and the pinafore, I think, are the 2 that Linda was particularly interested in, so I'll be getting those sorted. So thank you for Linda for your kind sponsorship of those 2 garments. And then another of my regular followers, you'll know who you are, I know you didn't want to be mentioned, is suggesting that I look at the anorak and the culottes and the fisherman's top for Otterline. So I've ordered those kits as well, just as through the coffees that I've been sent. So I do appreciate that when people send the coffees through. I love it when you say what you'd like to do. I know somebody else, I think it's Anne, wants a tour of my sewing room as well, so I've got to tidy up first, and as you can see, sometimes it looks like a bomb's hit it, but if I get it tidied up, then because soon my husband's going to be making me some more units, so we're going to replace the Kallax unit that I've got here, and I'm going to have another unit there that I can put my overlocker and my cover stitch on, with a desk and then some lights over the top, because he's getting into his woodwork and he's really, really enjoying it. So we've ordered the cut wood in all the shapes and sizes, so it's going to be like a big jigsaw puzzle, so he's going to put that together for me. Hopefully it's not going to be too disruptive as well, but that might be coming later this month too. So I'd like to do a bit of a before tour so you can see how I am at the moment, because that's how I've been most of the time, and then we'll do a new sewing room tour when I've got my new pieces of furniture and they're all in and I've got it all organised and sorted. So yeah, so bear with me on the lunar lapping because we're wanting to get more and more done, but there's quite a few videos there already. I think there's 130 videos on my channel so far, and you may have seen all of them. You may be that dedicated, I don't know, but hopefully you can find something in there that you enjoy. There's one or two other disciplines as well. So there's a wool applique cushion that I did. I also like my dressmaking. So this is a cashmerette Upton dress that I made as well. This one's the tie sleeve version, and I'm going to be almost imminently, once I finish filming this, I want to film a couple of skill builders. One is talking about linings for dressmaking projects. This dress is lined in cotton, but I've got sorry, brain going quicker than my mouth can go, which would you believe? So I'm going to be videoing a talk about linings for a skill builder video, just about different types of linings. Not the fabrics, techniques it is, more techniques than it is on the actual fabrics themselves. And then straight after that, I'm wanting to cut out and start sewing the fabric that I bought in France. It was the really bright pink flowers on a purpley blue background. I've got some beautiful magenta viscose lining for that, so I'm going to be lining that in that dress, and it's going to be I'll be using that as my demonstration for I want to show you how to do a faced lining rather than just doing a full lining, because that's a new technique perhaps to some of you, but it's really, really effective and I really love that. So I'm going to show, so that's the two videos. I'm going to video straight after this one. So bear with me. Hopefully you enjoy the dressmaking as well. I mean, if you're working on your lunar lapping clothes, believe me, please, you definitely will be able to do dressmaking, especially if you choose either children's garments, or if you want to do things like bag making where there's no fitting, and there's little fitting done with children's garments as well, because they're basically straight up, straight down. It's only when you start to have to accommodate shoulders and backs and busts and tummies and bottoms and thighs and what have you, that you then need to have a little bit more advanced pattern drafting skills, or you just choose your patterns carefully when you're a beginner to try and use those patterns that you know suit you, those styles that you know suit you, and some lovely fabrics, and you start there. And I'm hoping to give you some confidence to have a go at doing that. And if you remember, last month we filmed the video for the Alex shorties and the Sydney dungarees, which are 5 berries patterns, and I thought they turned out really, really sweet. So they were really very similar as well to if you ever made Freddie's dungarees in of the lunar lapping ranges, then you know they're pretty much the same. The techniques and all the things that we discussed there are pretty much the same. So if you wanted to jump into that, then that's a good one to start with if you've got littles in your life. I've also got an idea I've got a pattern in my stash that matches or is very similar to the wrap over dress that Wilhelmina Mouse wears as well. So I'm going to make that at some stage. And there was another one. Oh yeah, I've also got a pattern for a tie shouldered dress, little girl's dress as well, which I'm going to show. I've also got a waistcoat pattern that I can make as well, and show you how to make that. So that would then match Alfie's waistcoat. So I'm trying to tie them into lunar lapping because a lot of my followers are interested in lunar lapping, and that's what's brought them to sewing, and just see if they want to branch out a little bit more with their machines and try some new techniques. But they're standalone videos, so if you're new to sewing and you're just interested in dressmaking and for children and for adults, then you know that there should hopefully be plenty of little tips and tricks that you can use then. So the idea is that I try to explain why we do something as well, and not just say do this, do that. I try to say we do this because, and this will give you a better effect or a better result. And hopefully then when you're working on a different garment but with a similar aspect of sewing that you're doing for it, that will actually come into your mind and think, oh yeah, we did that with Claire, right, okay, I know what I'm doing with this now, and you'll apply that technique into your sewing anyway. So that's how I'm hoping it's all going to work. So in dressmaking terms for me, I mean, I love making summer dresses. That's just my favourite season to sew for, definitely. I'm going to be making the Upton dress with a scoop front and a scoop back. It's having full sleeves instead of the tied sleeves here, because at the moment I want to balance out my hips with that fabric, and it's a very loud fabric, so I just want to keep that nice. I'm trying to put pockets in it as well, and I'm going to be doing the faced lining technique on that, and it's going to be fully lined as well, the skirt and the top. I find in Spain that with it being so hot, quite a lot of the time the temperatures at the moment are about 24, 25, and they'll stay like this, only going up through the summer, and it's very early in the season for it to be like that. And we can still have really, really warm days in September and October, so my summer wardrobe gets most of the wear really. Winter is only a couple of months really wear, so it's not, I don't really sew so much for that. But I've made a cashmere rose clare, and I love that, so I've got another one of those planned which I'm going to be making, and again that's got a nice lining to it, and I'll be doing the face lining on that, but won't demonstrate that, I'll just make that straight up. And the other one I want to make is I've got some lovely turquoise floral linen, and I want to make a by hand Lunda Anna dress as well. Now I have made an Anna dress before in some jewel colour, so it might be on one of my videos, I'm not sure, but I'll do a twirly video for you afterwards when I've made these. So those are the 3 dresses that I know I've got planned at the moment, and I've also want to make a Lennox dress as well, which is this one just here by Cashmerette. And I've got some brown linen to make, because I want to twirl that one, because I've not made this one before, and it's a shirt dress, so I thought that if I twirl that one, then I can perhaps wear that going in towards autumn next year. That might look nice with some boots and a cardigan over the top. So I'm talking at you 10 to the dozen, and I'm sorry if you've had to slow me down. Remember, in the settings there is a setting where you can slow me down, so it's not so exhausting to listen to me, but there's lots going on here behind the scenes. So and I've also got Clementine's quilt that I've not done any more on yet for next Christmas, for this coming Christmas. I'm hoping I can get that done a bit more as I get things sort of a bit more settled. I'm also looking to register perhaps as a small business here in Spain as well. I'm just looking into it, because they do something called autonomo, but then you have to pay a flat rate of national insurance in effect every month, and I sometimes don't make enough to even make that national insurance payment. But I think there's something slightly under that you can register for. And that will then mean that if anybody wanted any one-on-one sewing classes, I'd perhaps be able to do that over Zoom or over WhatsApp, that type of scenario. And it also makes sure that if anybody asks me to do any alterations other than friends, I might be able to start and charge a little bit, which I can't do at the moment because I'm not registered. I sort of just do it on the side really for people. If they want something their friends, then they can ask me. So yeah, and the other thing is, of course, I'm registered with YouTube, and I know that the ads come on the YouTube videos that you watch, or you can skip them, and I have no problem at all with you skipping them. But because my following is now over 1,000 subscribers, and actually we're really almost touching 1,500, so thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed. And I know this sounds like a bit of a spiel for please subscribe and what have you, but I'll be honest with you, it's a really nice way of supporting me and what I do without it costing you anything at all. Subscribing is absolutely free to the channel, but so it's free to you, and it generates income for me. So I was quite surprised, because the reason why I started my YouTube channel in the first place was to just to record what I was doing. But then as I started to get 1 or 2 more followers, I thought, oh, well, how's this going then? How much would this mean? Because I know people get paid for the ad revenue from having a YouTube channel and from having supporters. And I thought, well, maybe that might be a way of self-supporting my hobby and working it through. And that's it's not quite there, obviously, but it is. At the moment, I'm getting towards €20 a month from the people who are watching my videos. So I think it's based on a bit of an algorithm. So it's based on how many subscribers you've got. It's based on how many people watch your videos in a month and how long they watch them for. It's also based on who interacts. So you know the little thumbs up sign, if you click on that, then that counts as an interaction, and that helps. And if you leave a comment below as well on any of my videos and interact with me that way, that helps too. So if you don't kind of agree with the whole coffee thing, because I've got a coffee account where you can tip, although I use it more for people to pass on sponsorship if they want to see particular kits and particular things made, like the donkeys, then Tina Garner has sponsored the donkey kit. She sent me some money and I managed to purchase that. And it could be something towards a kit, or if you're desperate to see that kit done, it can be for the whole kit. It's up to you. It just bumps it up my list further, I suppose, and quicker. And that's done through Coffee. So when PayPal pay me, they take some money out of that as their fee, which is absolutely fine. But the other way, if you wanted to just generally support my channel, and I try and do this with the people that I watch as well, is if you are a subscriber anyway, then that bumps up my numbers and says this to YouTube, this is a channel worth watching, and then they will then promote that channel to other people who might enjoy the content. It also means that if you give me a thumbs up on a video, that means that that video is quite good and of interest, not only to you, so that you might see other videos in the future on that type of theme, but it also says that this is a good video, and so YouTube again gives it a little bump up the list as well of showing it to other people. And then if you comment as well, then that also does help. So, you know, you'll see people all the time saying about please subscribe, and you know, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does generate this income. So as I say, at the moment, I'm about €20 a month just from people just watching what you do normally, the number of subscribers I've got at the moment. And I use all of that to plough that back into buying the kits, like the outfit for Otterline that I've just bought, the culottes and the anorak, in order that I can then video those and then show those to you for in the future. I hope that doesn't seem mercenary. I mean, somebody's told me off for not pushing the channel more, really, I suppose. Not told me off, but said that I ought to be more proactive with it. And I really appreciate those comments, because when you're at home by yourself, you try to hit everybody's pleasure point, really, I suppose. And I don't know, some people don't want me to push it at all and are just here for the sewing. Some people want to support me in whatever way they can, and I really appreciate that. And other people are thinking, oh, she's just after money all the time. So I kind of don't want to get into that. So the YouTube way, a thumbs up, a comment, and being a subscriber is a great way of just helping me to help you by just giving me more materials, really, and then to buy a bit of fabric. I mean, obviously you don't get a lot with €20 a month, but I'm absolutely thrilled to actually be earning some money through something that I love doing is absolutely fabulous. So, you know, I see every single penny or cent, because we're in Spain, aren't we, as being a real plus. So thank you for that. So I wanted to explain that to you and be absolutely open with you as to where we are on that, so that I'm not trying to hide anything or trying to do smoke and mirrors with anything for anybody who might be watching. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've not mentioned that I wanted to. I think I'll probably do for now. I've now talked to you for 30 nearly 40 minutes. And hopefully it's all been interesting. It's all about what's happening on with my life and in the background with me, and also what you will see coming up in the channel. So I'm going to get off now. I think I can just put this straight up live. I'll just put a starter and an ender on it and hopefully get this live now, and then at least that's a bit of a start, because I want to get on to doing the skill builder about the linings, talking about different types of dressmaking type techniques for lining garments, and then I want to get onto some sewing, because my husband's gone to the basketball this afternoon. He's absolutely thrilled. I sent him off with a list for IKEA too. There's a DIY shop called Leroy Merlin, which is his new favourite place, so he's gone off to do that, and is in his absolute happy place, and I'll hear all about the game when he gets back, and I'm in my happy place because I'm talking to you guys and saying hi, saying how are you. Well, I haven't said how are you. I hope everything's okay with all of you. If anybody's got any problems with their sewing or needs any help, then just give me a shout, and you can either do that through the comments below, or you can look at joining my Facebook group as well. It's not always very active, but I don't want it to be one of those groups that's always in your face, but I want it to be there when you want it and when you need it. And I do announce when I've put videos up. You can always hit the notifications bell as well if you are a subscriber, and that will help you know when I've got videos loaded. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed spending this half hour with me. I've thoroughly enjoyed rattling away. I probably put the video down and then remember about 2 or 3 things that I meant to say that I've forgotten about, but they'll just have to wait until next month. But I think, oh, I know one thing I did want to show you is whilst I was down with, because now I had internet issues while I was in France, well, I was working on my cross stitch instead. So this is Home Sweetheart Home by a company called, oops, River Drift House Needleworks. That's just there, and it's a really sweet one, this pink and grey. And I'm getting on really quite well with it. So because I couldn't do my Lunar Lapin video recording for you all, then I thought, well, I'd do a bit more of this. So here we are at the moment, and if you look, I've managed to get all the borders finished now, and it's just this bit down here. I've got, I think, a coffee pot to put one side and a teapot to finish here, and then I've just got a little bit more to do there. Pull it a little bit closer for you to have a little look. So once I've got this finished, then I'll get this one framed again. It is almost square, so I'm hoping I can just buy a fairly cheap frame, because I've spent quite a lot of them framing the last couple of months, because I kind of think once they're framed forever. And I have shown you, I think, a couple on my floss tubes before when I've done those. But yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that one. It's coming together nicely. And I've seen another one that I like as well, which is on a natural coloured linen. And I think it's by a company called Curie Battori, something like that. I'm not Italian, as you can tell. My accent isn't that good. But when I buy that one, then I'll show you, because when I finish this one, I'll want another one. And I do like this kind of, I was going to say twee. I don't know, that's the back of it. You don't see the back of it, do you? Twee, but it's kind of, it's not shabby chic, but it's that kind of cutesy, kind of pretty. I like pretty things, I think, and that's what I think that this fat cross stitch, that heart one is, and I think the other one will be. I think I've got a picture of it. I'll put a picture up here so you'll be able to see it. It says the word home in white, and then it's got a lovely border, and then it's got pink and green flowers all around it, which look lovely, and on a natural background looks really nice with a white frame round it. So I'll have a look at doing that. But that was the only other thing I think I wanted to say. I'll release you all to do whatever you're doing. So I hope you've got lots of projects on. I hope you're getting on well with your projects. I hope you're still enjoying your Lunar Lapin videos if you're watching those. I hope you've got some summer sewing planned if you're doing your dressmaking. Let me know. Yeah, let me know what you're up to, and that all's good with you, and that life is treating you well. And if life isn't treating you well, then I hope you're finding some comfort in your stitching, and that you can lose yourself in that just for a time and find some peace. I know I do sometimes. So you know, life isn't always happy, smiley, jolly, is it? And we just have to ride those waves, knowing and hoping that it will get better sometimes. So yeah, let's all, you know, I know I'm a bit smiley sometimes, but you know, I do know there's a serious side to life as well, and my heart does go out to you all if life isn't treating you very kindly at the moment. Try and just be kind to yourselves. Try and find a little bit of stitching time where you can just shut yourself off and just do what makes your heart sing, because it really does help. And a bit of time in nature as well, just going for a walk and listen to the birds. That really works for me too, when I can get out and about and do that. So I'm sending lots of love to you all. Thank you very much for watching and for being here and for supporting me. I can't believe we're nearly at 1,500 subscribers. That is just amazing to me. And thank every single one of you for being here, and for supporting me and for my channel, and just for being around. Take care, everybody. Happy stitching, and I'll get some more videos up as soon as I can do. Take care. Bye.